Hello, hello again. We're back for the second art stream, is it? Yeah, second art stream. Oh, two art streams in one. What a concept. Time flies when you're having fun. Let's see, let's see. Oh crap, hang on, hang on. I pressed the wrong button. No, not expression encoder, I don't want that. Hang on. Yeah, it's a bit slow at the moment. Right now it's 100. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Because I hate it when that happens. Wait, let me check something. Performance mode. Ah! Yeah, it was performance mode. Yeah, yeah, it was. Okay, so there's that. Uh-oh, raining. Ah, oh, well, I guess we could still. Oh, that's saved. That's saved. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, let's see. Performance mode.
Is good, but it has a lot more than just scares going on. I know they're making a new Five Nights at Freddy's spin-off, but
McDougal's is me name. I like a swampy bone.
this series
It's
got
time
fucking
to play
weird.
a game with your favorite Highland frog.
Okay, so this is Damned, the other 4 vs 1 horror game. This game flew pretty under the radar. I didn't even check it out until it was out of early access. That's because when I hear the words horror, indie, and early access together in a sentence, I sort of imagine myself throwing my wallet into a lake. But it's not just me. There's a dedicated player base, especially now in October, but it's not huge. In fact, it's sometimes a single digit playing. To understand why, first you have to look at the developers.
Hello everybody, my name's Aymar. I'm the programmer for Nineheads Game Studios. We are a small team of developers and we are from Florianópolis, Brazil.
It was made by a small group of Brazilians. That doesn't scream marketing budget. Plus, they can't make deals with streamers. But hey, they're still supporting this game. I contacted one of the developers, and they told me they've been working on map editor and modding tools to come out in early 2017. So they're dedicated. But what is the game like? It's dark, atmospheric, and you have a sense of oh. Alright. Let's take it from the top. The first thing you need to know is it'll probably run well, but you never know with it. And even though it works on my machine, I have friends with better hardware from the same manufacturer who get very low FPS. They'll try all sorts of fixes that do nothing, and then one day it just works on its own. It's sort of like Operation Brother Sam. You can prepare all you want, but it might just fix itself. To get in the game, you either host a lobby or you join a server. I think the lack of matchmaking is a positive. Everyone is screwing it up recently. You load into the game, and if you're playing a monster, you have your first problem. The game is astoundingly vague. Hey, what were those instructions that were on the screen for 4 seconds? Arm the traps to generate statue clones and gather energy. There's a lot of questions. Now this was a monster I hadn't played before, so I thought I'd try and figure it out. Those things are glowing, so I could click on them, right? Well, that didn't do anything. Maybe the toilet will do something. Oh, well that made a statue. So that's the trap, but how does it work? How does any of this work? And what's my energy used for? Is it just for putting down more traps? And how come not all the objects even make traps? We'll come back to the monsters later, but you can see how this is a problem. Now the Survivor gameplay is much more straightforward. You're trying to escape the map, but might need tools or keys to advance through certain areas. You really have to dig around for some of these keys, and only the person who has it can open the door, so if someone gets killed, you have to get it off their body. The monster can set up to make this harder. If that still sounds too easy, your flashlight can also run out of battery, so you gotta watch that while you're looking for some Duracells. This game is not on your side. Even the environments have to ruin your day. Personally, this is what makes the game really fun to me. This is a hunt, not a fight. A lot of asymmetrical games have problems balancing because they're trying to make them equal. To do that, you give each side their own special mechanics. So Dead by Daylight is the ghoul in the room for this comparison, since the Friday the 13th game isn't out yet. Now this was advertised as a horror game, and even the in-game tutorials are pretty lax on UI elements. But then you actually play the game and it's more like this. There are big icons and constant little prompts for things. When the monster catches you, you can escape or tear down his means of killing you. It's fun, but this is more of a competitive match than a horror game. There's no sabotage mechanic in Damned. That's gotta be frustrating for the killer. The only time he wants to hear that word is from the Beastie Boys. Whether by intentional design or laziness, Damned is a lot more atmospheric. This is a great game to play on Halloween with some friends. You can't fight the monster, you can only run and hide from it. This means stacking up with friends helps you coordinate search efforts for getting out, rather than fighting the monster.
Come on. Come on.
I think it set up noise traps. Oh shit!
He's dead. Oh!
So for playing survivors, this game is a blast. When it comes to the monster, you have some variation. I'll start off with the Weeping Angel, the Fallen. The Fallen is a cursed statue. I think it's cursed to listen to a remix of the cultist theme from Endless Legend for all eternity. When it's in this hunt mode, it can't actually see survivors, so has to rely on traps to do the vision for it. When you click a flashing object, it'll make a noise trap. This means a survivor going near it will trigger a loud sound you can hear, but for every 2 you put down, it'll spawn a statue. You can only have 5 at a time, except for a forest map where you can put down 10. Either way, they flash even through walls if a survivor comes near them. You can manually activate your killing mode, which only lasts 7 seconds. This is the only time the humans can see you and you can see them. At the end it resets and has a long cooldown. This monster's pretty fun. Next is the Phantom, who can place no traps of his own but has very good hearing. He's also blind. Noise traps are automatically set throughout the map, and if someone runs or makes a loud noise near you, then you can see them. If you're still and quiet, he loses you again. For some reason, it seems like the Phantom confuses new players the most. He's also very dependent on having a claustrophobic map with hallways. The forest is just horrible for him. This and some other maps need to be reeled in a lot more. It's not fun for the monster. Plus, survivors wander around forever. So the Phantom's fun on some maps. Next is Mary, and she's spooky because she makes you want to end your life in the real world. Mary's movement speed is slower than a player walking, and it used to be even slower. She passively gains energy, and can randomly teleport around the map to offset this. She can charge it up even faster if she's looking at a player, so they want to stay away from her. When she gets enough energy, she can charge at a player at sonic speeds. But there's an awful catch. First, energy gathering is incredibly slow, even when you're staring right at players.
Oh, look, it's the roasty with the mosty.
That's frustrating, but that's not the fatal flaw. It's this. Mary will randomly teleport on her own sometimes. Even when you're closing in on someone, you might just be whisked away to another part of the map. It's even worse on the open maps, and it's a shame because she's fun to play against because you don't know where she is. But having both controlled and random teleports ruins it. I don't recommend Mary. Last up is the Lurker, and he might be my favorite. The Lurker moves in a ghost form, invisible and not able to see other players, and he just sets traps. Players will know when it's nearby because it makes strange noises, and this monster has to get the drop on the players. His physical kill form only lasts a few seconds, and is slower than a player sprinting. Both sides can hear the traps going off, but the Lurker can see them, so you need to set up if you want to drop on someone quickly. No matter who you play, noise matters in these rounds, so don't play if it's too busy.
Wait, I don't understand. You saying you got a free Varger? What?
I don't understand what Kaf was talking about. Where is he's not even on the fucking city. Where is he?
Fucking kill me, man.
I just saw his capsule.
This is a fun monster. Besides performance, I have to warn you that this game has an issue with bugs. There's been a lot of times I've played as a monster and kind of gotten stuck on furniture and had to wiggle out of it. There have also been times when I see monsters get outright stuck on things, so I'm guessing this game has some issues with collision in some areas. I've put 12 hours into this game, and I've seen about 3 hard crashes, so those are there. There used to be a pretty funny bug we could queue with 2 monsters at the same time, but we couldn't replicate it. I guess they fixed it.
3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go.
The bugs aren't constant, but you'll probably see something not right if you're playing for a few hours. Even though it's a semi-broken indie game made by a small team of Brazilians, I still recommend this. For the flaws it has, what Damned gets right, it gets really right. It's sold on Steam, and if you can get it for sub $10, I say go for it. At the time of this video, the Halloween sale just started up, and you could get it for around $7. That's a fair price, and it's a small download, so if you end up being one of the chosen people that Damned just doesn't like working on, you could get it refunded pretty quickly. It feels kind of strange to recommend a game like this, but I've had so much fun with it I have to give it a chance. So who knows? Maybe there will be a Halloween miracle. Maybe more people will give this game a chance instead of buying a Five Nights at Freddy's sequel. I definitely don't blame the guy for cashing in on it. He'd be crazy not to. So give this lesser horror game a try. After all, there's no way people will be satisfied with sequels forever. Right?
Oh Christ. Copyright.
Welcome to Dusk. It's going to be a very happy Halloween. Dusk is a retro 90s styled shooter. A lot of those
Hello,
have been mediocre, but not
Internet,
this one.
and
This one
welcome
is
to
good. In
the
fact, this one
meme
is great.
review.
But before I get
No,
into
no,
why
no.
this game is so
Welcome
great,
to
I'm guessing you all know
Behind
what
the
it's about. So I'm
Meme.
just going to go ahead and play the intro.
Today's episode is the Burger King lettuce guy, or chills, or whatever. Wait, let's play that, let's play that, let's play it.
The intruder.
Let's play that fucking intro before I continue. Hang on. Come on. Hello, wait, hello, internet. Hang on, come on. Hello, internet. Behind the meme. Where is it? Where is it?
Hello, Internet, and welcome to Behind the Meme, where we take a look at the memes and the origin of your favorite memes and trends. Today we have a look at...
Oh my god. Oh my god. that fucking takes me back. Oh my god. Hello, Internet, and welcome to Behind the Meme. Today's episode is Doing Your Mom. Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. There he is. Here it is. Come on, chills.
Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
Yeah!
The last thing you want on your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus. But as it turns out, that might be what you get. A 4chaner uploaded a photo anonymously to the site showcasing his feet in a plastic bin of lettuce with the statement, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." Admittedly, he had shoes on, but that's even worse. The post went live at 11:38 p.m. on July 16th, and a mere 20 minutes later, the Burger King in question was alerted to the rogue employee. At least. I hope he's rogue. How did it happen?
How did it happen?
The BK employee hadn't removed the EXIF data from the uploaded photo, which suggested the culprit was somewhere in Mayfield Heights,
yeah,
Ohio.
Sure.
This was at 11:47. 3 minutes later, at 11:50, the Burger King...
11:50. Number 15.
Alright, now we can start. On a technical level, Dusk looks very authentic to the kind of game it's trying to portray, though it does have some effects and features that would probably obliterate your computer back then. If this still looks too modern for you, then I have good news. This game is highly customizable. You can knock down the palette.
Your
with the
mom is
pixelization
highly
and make the game look a lot older.
customizable.
You can This is Deus Ex 3, the original version. As you can see, there's some issues, so it's not Deus Ex anymore. I've had quite a few people tell me not to touch this game, and I get why now. But I always wondered how this went from being a Deus Ex game into this. There's some explaining to do. This is Project Snowblind. Before I get into the game, I think it's fair to tell you what happened and why this exists. As you probably know, Deus Ex was a game that was released in 2000. It's considered one of the best RPGs ever made. The graphics weren't exceptional for the time, and the style of trench coats and sunglasses were left behind with the Matrix movies and Columbine, but the story really held up. It has branching missions, open-world gameplay, and the plot was complex. You were dealing with ideas like information control, terrorism, and the military-industrial complex. It goes beyond holding up to the point where these ideas are more relevant today than they were then. So it was good, and they made a sequel 3 years later called Invisible War. It took place 20 years after Deus Ex and was about Ezio Auditore blowing up Chicago. Besides Chi-Town, the other big bomb was the sales and reception, because unlike the first game, it was made for the Xbox. While it looked better, virtually everything else was worse. It wasn't a bad game, just average. Average wasn't gonna cut it for a Deus Ex sequel. The project director later said just how much they had screwed up the game. Developing primarily for console was an issue, but they had a lot of other problems. So the series lost fans who thought it was being dumbed down. Well, during this time, a third game was being developed called Deus Ex Clan Wars. It was designed as an action-focused game with multiplayer, but after they got the numbers on how bad Invisible War did, they rebranded it completely. But they did this pretty late in development, so a lot is familiar. So let's get into it. Call of Deus Ex. The story would have taken place between the two existing Deus Ex games. China is undergoing Cultural Revolution Electric Boogaloo, and not a lot of people are going to survive it. This is told to us by a Command & Conquer intro, and this direction kind of reminds me of Metal Gear games, and that won't be the last time that comes up. The only ones there to stop it are an international peacekeeping coalition called UNATCO, the Liberty Coalition. So you're one of those guys. This game has no shortage of cutscenes, and they're competent. It's here you're introduced to the younger version of Chip Hazard named Nathan Frost. He's being debriefed on how the country could escalate into civil war, which happens literally 15 seconds later. Love that Kung Fu Panda soundtrack. Then the game just sort of starts. Before I could really even take in the graphics, I got a notification saying that throwing a grenade was shift, so I had to change controls. And they're buzzing. It even affects the voice I recorded separately. What is this? At least it's only in the menu. This game has weird audio. Watch me move between the two music triggers. Jesus. Sometimes cutscenes won't even play audio, they'll just play the environmental effects around it. This is awkward. Even if it works out, you're not missing much with the music. I didn't add this in. Alright, that's enough of that. The graphics are pretty bad for the time. This was also the end of a console generation since the 360 came out a few months later. I find the art direction interesting at times. After all, this was going to be a Deus Ex game. Right in the first level, they pull out stuff like the walker robots. But even though it reminds me of Deus Ex, this is not it. The first level is generic shooter number 2165, even with a turret section. Finally, the mission ends when Nathan saves one of his friends from a bomb? That's a straight up bomb. Oh my god. Since he's already wounded, UNATCO fills him with experimental military augmentations. Kind of interesting that Human Revolution started this way too. What it did not have was an 80s life story monologue.
How did I get here? Growing up listening to Dad's horror stories about the war, I never thought I'd join the army. Yet here I am. What's left of me anyway? My brother was a soldier. He died on duty.
Okay, this is his only monologue. And it doesn't matter, so let's skip it. I kind of wonder how much was cut out in development, since this whole beginning is building up for some kind of plot. Frost being augmented is basically the same scenes from RoboCop. Most of what remains kind of reminds me of Verhoeven films. Well, maybe if people replace their limbs with bionicle parts. So once you're augmented, you're set free into open levels to stop the evil Chinese general. But they rushed you out, so some of your powers will just turn on over time. And don't you worry about getting lost. They gave you probably the most obnoxious objective marker in all of history. Thank God it toggles. There's a lot of named characters, and they all talk at you, but there's no conversation wheel or anything. It just makes me more and more curious what the original plan for this game was. So they gave you some powers. You can crawl in vents, stack boxes, and hack items with your ice pit. Oh. So are things gonna get better now that it's opened up? Well, kind of. The issue is that Snowblind is very, very confused. Let's get into some more details so you know what I'm talking about. The first issue is they gave me the power to slow down time and see through walls, but I really didn't feel a need to use it besides curiosity. Which is because of the difficulty, or lack of it. Enemy weapons barely seem to hurt you, even heavy-duty stuff like the turret. And this is before even finding all the health upgrades. Plus, you get a shield in the same level that makes it even harder to die. Well, if that's not enough, you could pick up some cyborg sips, and if you die, they will automatically revive you.
The Wraith King reigns again.
At this point, you might be yelling at the screen, just turn up the difficulty. But I can't. This is it. This is the difficulty. Every weapon in the game has an alt-fire mode, but I had to load up a level and test them out since I never found a need to use most of them. The sniper rifle can mind control people, but I never needed that. This isn't a war, this is having a machine gun in the Boxer Rebellion. But it gets even worse because the AI is terrible. Sometimes you have to run in their face to get them to shoot you. There's not really a point to giving me cool weapons and abilities if I can't really use them properly. It didn't help the first few levels were streets, hallways, and sewer tunnels. When I got to the parking garage, everything was explained. Listen to this.
Proceed past the garage level and get to those cannons. Security's gonna be tight. I'd advise a stealthier approach.
He advises stealth, so I try that out, but moments later he tells me to hijack cars.
Get creative with them.
I didn't even know you could drive vehicles. What is this game? So...
Oh, it's raining
I got
again.
creative with the vehicles. But then right as I'm going up the next ramp,
Lieutenant, don't overlook hackable security elements. You could do a lot of damage confiscating one of their turrets. Just a thought.
so I need to be sneaky again so I can hack into a terminal. Okay. But sitting in front of that vent is the first drivable military vehicle in the game. Even if you hack the turrets, they get blown up immediately by robots and the alarms go off. It feels like you need to use the vehicle here no matter what. The alarms just alert enemies you're around. They don't call in reinforcements or really make things harder. And a lot of areas are already alerted, so it doesn't do anything. So now I've gone on a murdering rampage in the parking garage.
Garage. Oh. Hey guys, garage.
What? Okay, so I snuck past 3 people walking around. In a day, but they haven't aged like wine. Nowadays, the murderous vampire looks more like a cereal box mascot. Like I said before though, this is pretty damn violent for 96. It's not Harvester, but that lady's skin exploded off. We do that with Proactive these days. After Wizard 101's murder by vampire, the game gets going.
Tavern's closing. Best be on your way, stranger. What? A mug of ale for a weary traveller from distant Corhagen? I can reward you well, for I am of noble blood.
This is our titular Kane. A traveling noble denied a place to stay, and things only get worse from there. Kane is immediately ambushed by assassins, and there's no way out. You can kill as many as you want, but they keep coming, and there's no escape. So, Kane gets the revolutionary's handshake. Kane goes directly to hell. He's quite literally burning with a desire for revenge. He gets an offer to be brought back for revenge by the necromancer Mortanius. Not caring about the terms and conditions, Kane signs up for it, and now he's a vampire. Right from the get-go, it's a visual treat. It's a very moody looking game. The sprite work is great and the animations are very fluid. Plus, look at all the effects here. The lightning, the rain, and of course the blood sucking. This game has a weather system. Sometimes it gets a little darker, rain comes in slowly, and then it picks up. Same for snow. It adds on very nicely to the day-night cycle. It's not just a switch flip of day or night. The environment can change depending on the time of day it is. Since I'll be backtracking from time to time, it's nice to make those areas look a little bit different. The game already has a good variation of outdoor environments, so it's like a bonus on top of that. Not to say that indoors are ugly, they're typically even better. The game is so colorful, but the lighting keeps it moody. Some games, particularly horror games, stray away from having vibrant colors like this. They're usually trying to maintain an oppressive atmosphere, and I get that. Horror-themed games being brown or gray isn't unusual. Having a red and gold environment look ominous, well, that's been a while for me. When there are generic medieval dungeons, they're lit nicely. The other areas are gorgeous. No matter how exotic or colorful they are, they always maintain an aura of being creepy. This wasn't a Halloween pick for nothing. Speaking of that, check out the enemies. You've got grave robbers, dark wizards, skeletons, zombies, boogies, werewolves, gypsies, possessed toys, evil scarecrows, demons from hell, and one very annoying druid. The visual presentation is outstanding. On a Halloween scale, it doesn't quite reach peak Castlevania, but it's up there. Then you have the sound. Unfortunately, the sound effects are very generic and really not worth talking about. In comparison, the music is great and some of the tracks are phenomenal. Check out the theme for the Evil Toymaker dungeon. devilishly good. The voice acting is also something special, but I'm going to hold off on that for a bit. Let's get into the gameplay. This is an action-adventure game. If you've ever played Zelda: A Link to the Past or similar adventure games, a lot of this may sound familiar to you. Though, as we've gone over, the presentation is a little different. You're pressing forward in your quest for revenge, but sometimes you come to an obstacle. You'll pass a lot of caves and dungeons on your journey. Look into them. While not always mandatory, they give Kane new powers or equipment. One of your first abilities is being able to transform into a werewolf. It has really nice hair too, like it's a L'Oreal werewolf. That's not something I want to Google. Anyways, the wolf form is much faster than Kane, but more important than that, the wolf can jump. So now you can go up and down cliffs and across platforms that you couldn't before. Near the start of the game there's a graveyard, and you can't get past some of the fences. But now you can come back and jump it as the werewolf. Now you can explore around more and fight for new items, and this is all optional. To sweeten the deal, backtracking like this usually isn't a huge chore. Even before your wolf ability, you can turn to a swarm of bats. This is your fast travel system. As you explore around, you occasionally find a bat tower. You just have to stand on it to activate it. Once you do, you can then travel back there at any time. If that's not enough, Kane also has a sanctuary spell which takes you back to the very first screen in the game. This is useful when you want to use the world's most evil-looking save station. Those layers of convenience are really encouraging to go back and look around. When you gain new powers and forms, the way you look at the map changes. Even checking out a mundane area that was once inaccessible could reveal a secret. This game has tons of secrets. Being a vampire, Kane has issues with running water, which includes the rain. That problem can be fixed with a cursed fountain, but as for bodies of water, no such luck. Then, way later into the game, you can turn to a cloud of mist and walk across bodies of water and through certain walls. So now a ton of areas you've been through have even more to explore. This keeps going until nearly the very end. There's so much to collect and you want to collect it. You might think Kane exaggerates. He doesn't.
Of all the methods I employ, this is perhaps the cruelest. Causing my victim's body to shrink on itself, crushing bones and rupturing organs till the pressure inside bursts the sack of fleshy skin, spraying its contents for all to see.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, Kane doesn't really fuck around. The thirst for new items comes quickly, mainly due to the combat. Melee attacking is only one button, but if you press it in the right pace, then you get a combo attack. And that's it. It's simple,
Damn, that's a
repetitive, and
combo.
becomes ineffective. So you have two additional options, artifacts and spells. They occupy the same window. Artifacts come from these cards you collect. It's simple enough, one use for each card. These can be stupidly powerful, with some able to clear a screen of enemies in a second. These don't have any kind of cooldown. The only limiting factor is how many you have, so going out of your way to collect them makes fights later on much faster and easier. Then you have spells. These are also incredibly powerful. The difference is once you learn a spell, you have it on you forever. No use per item like artifacts. Instead, you have to use magic, which is represented by the runes on the right side of the screen. However, some spells require having enough base magic to cast it in the first place, so you need to hunt around for those too. The scarcity of spells and artifacts means it won't be replacing your main weapon, at least not early on. Kane is a vampire, so his health is always slowly draining. He needs to have some people gushers to fix that. You occasionally find people chained to the wall that you can snack on. They could be locked in a dungeon, or a town brothel gets a little crazy. No matter where, you can suck the blood right out of them, from range. When you can't get it from a prisoner, you can get it from some enemies in combat. Right before they die, they start staggering around, and that's when you give them the graveyard suck. Now, Kane is a classy vampire, which means he won't lick it off the floor. The results of most of your artifacts and spells won't be something you can feed on. You do have some that can help feed, but these can use a lot of magic. I want to save that for the good stuff. You can upgrade your max health just like magic, but it's always ticking down, so you need new ways to feed. Going to town is a good way to do this, and it's a fun twist on regular adventure games. You still resupply and get new items from town, but not from talking to the people. You break in everywhere and kill them and rob them blind. The day-night cycle comes into play here too. People will be out in the streets during the day, but you'll have to deal with the guards if you want to get them. Nobody's asleep during the day. Just wait for night and then creep into town and suck them dry while they're sleeping. You'll also receive weapons that can make the process easier against regular enemies. The spiked mace does less damage, but will stun your enemies for longer. And you bet it opens up new areas. With the axes, you can't use any items, which is awful. But you do get a really good combo attack.
Damn, it's a combo. Rules of nature!
And you can cut down trees. Pretty cool.
Accursed gypsies, bringing their wicked magic. No Scoth will never be the same. The gypsies, purveyors of distrust and superstition. Most of their babble should be taken with a pinch of salt. since the gypsies often tinker with weary travelers' minds. However, a few gypsies have something interesting to say.
It's weird. The only gypsy magic you learn is being able to transform into a poor migrant. But so many people you talk to in the disguise form are concerned about the gypsies, not the rich vampire who's coming into town, blowing people up and sucking out all of their blood. Maybe this was during the Frollo era. Then again, these gypsies have a lot of knives.
The weapons are but a token of my goodwill. And the news you bring, a vampire sent to slay me?
Wait.
Where did you come upon such knowledge?
That's right, Tony J is in this game. He was also in War of the Ring. What does this all mean? Where was I going with this? What the hell is that sound? The game has some problems. It's mainly to do with the combat. Sometimes enemies will be stuck inside you and you have to wiggle out of them. Sometimes they get stuck inside each other and beat their friends up to death. An enemy being stuck in a wall is not uncommon, and they'll probably get you stuck as well. It's also clear that the hitboxes don't match up to the sprite animation. Enemies can swing at you and not hit a thing, and vice versa. These problems show up the most when something is diagonal. It's almost like the idea of being able to go diagonal was something thought up later. So many attacks that should miss hit, and the other way around. In fact, if an enemy is diagonal, their attacks go right through walls. The result is combat that can feel really janky. Taking damage knocks you back, so if you're not careful, you can be wombo comboed to death. These guys in particular can drive you crazy. But the game has so many powers